Hi again. Okay, so this video I'm actually going to talk about Exton when when I got him evaluated. Now, with the previous video, I kind of told you reasons as to why I felt like he needed to be evaluated to see if we can get him some therapy. And it wasn't therapy just for him, therapy for me as well, as in what can I do to help him help me help him. And actually, a lot of people that I talked to were telling me not to get him evaluated. He's fine, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. Which, so for you, if you want to get your son or daughter evaluated, go with your gut. Like, were their parents, were their mom? Um, we have that mom instinct. So do what you think is best for your family, for your child. Don't listen to other people, really. And a big thing, which is so hard not to do, don't compare your child to another child. Because I was doing that a lot when I thought maybe Exon had autism. Um, I was like, no, he doesn't have autism because he does this and like he acknowledges people. He knows when people are in the room. He loves cuddling. He loves kissing. Like autism, they're not affectionate. So, and this is me being naive because I didn't know, so much about autism. I still don't. I really don't. Everything is really just learning for me. So either way, I got him evaluated. Now, when I got him evaluated, I was so annoyed. So annoyed. That was probably one of the most frustrating days for me. So I am going through the state and they come to your house and they evaluate your son or your daughter. So for me, when they were evaluating Exton, um, they are only here for about an hour, right? And there's like five people. um, and there's different therapists that are judging him at different things, okay? So the ladies were all super nice. The one girl that I work with, super nice, really like her. We actually can relate back and forth really well within our lives. So it was nothing personally on them. One big uh, hard part is your significant other, if you guys agree on things and if you don't agree on things. So I have let go of my walls, you can say. So at first I was like, no, 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 he's fine, he's fine. But then it kind of just dawned on me and I was like, okay. So I came to terms with it. So I'm totally like I guess you can call it I have my goggles off or whatever you want to call it. And now looking back, I'm wondering how I didn't see it before. So but yes and no at that point. So my husband, on the other hand, love him to death, but when they came to the house, he was telling them things that Exton, we were totally disagreeing. And I told them that we were not on the same page. Like he sees one thing, I see another. Okay. Um, so they asked things like, does Exton roll a ball back and forth? Now, keep in mind, Exton is 12 months old. Does he roll a ball back and forth to you guys? And I'm like, no, has never done it. And Tom's like, yeah, he does that with me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, he doesn't. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, he does. So it turns out, maybe that Exton pushed a ball towards him one time. But the way he's making out to be is like they actually roll a ball back and forth, back and forth. And that's the way. So then the therapists were like, well, you know, maybe it's the fact that, Exton does things when you're not around. And I'm like, no, because I'm always here. I'm always here. So I was like, that's not it. So it was very frustrating for me to be on two different pages. And I didn't feel that they were listening to me. So they did things like, as in, they would grab a toy, okay, and they would put it on top of their head, and they're like, Exton, grab the toy off of my head. And then Exton would come and grab the toy off of their head. Now, they're like, wow, look, he grabbed the toy off of my head, like, because he really listened to directions. He really knew to take the toy off of my head, because I told him to take the toy off of my head. And I was like, no. And I told them, I'm very blunt, and I told them, I'm like, no, he didn't take the toy off of your head because you told him to. He took the toy off of your head because that's silly and you had a toy on your head. I do it all the time. And I would always, my husband and I would put toys on our head and make them drop, and he'd start laughing, or, he tries to grab the toy off. And I'm like, put the toy back on your head and don't say, grab the toy. He's going to grab the toy regardless. So of course they didn't do it. And I don't know if they thought I was crazy because I was like arguing. And then one of Exton's favorite things is to put blocks into a bucket. He still does that. He still loves doing stuff like that, like rocks. If you give him rocks, he'll want to put it in the bucket. And then he loves dumping things on him, water, everything. Also, he loves water. But he will just, whatever it is, sand, water, rocks, doesn't matter, whatever is in the container, he loves to dump it on himself. So he loves to put stuff in a container and then dump it on himself, right? That's at 18 months. Now, at the point where he was at 12 months, he just likes to put stuff in the container. So they had blocks, and they told him to put the blocks in the bucket, and he did. But he didn't do it because you told him to. He did it because that's what he does. So they were judging him off of that, and they're like, he takes directions so well, like he's so good at taking directions. And I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. So that was the frustrating part of not being on the same page with a therapist. And it's frustrating that they only spend an hour. When you're their mom, you're with them 24/7. You know what he does and what he doesn't do. So I'm very thankful for therapy, although I haven't gone through it yet. That's another thing that I'm going to get into. But I'm thankful that it's there, and from what I hear, that it's super helpful. But I just read his paperwork the other day, and it says Exton is self-directed in play and socially. He understands cause and effect and is imitating actions such as pretend playing with a baby doll. What? Exton has never played with a baby doll, let's just say, period. But he's never has imitated anything, and does not play pretend with anything. So reading that, I just read it to my husband yesterday, because honestly, it says that his age level is at a 15-month of pretend play. Where they got that from, mind blown. I don't even get it. Exton is a picky eater. He has strong gag reflexes, which I agree. But they said that his eating level was at a 12-month. No. He's still at 18 months. Eats, we have to buy baby food more than anything. Like, he's so much better with food, but definitely still on more baby food than actual real food. So a lot of these things, like, okay, so another one. Exton follows simple one-step directions, dances to music, and is starting to point. He's working on responding to his name and pointing at body parts. No. No. Huge no. Now, if they were writing that stuff about him now at 18 months, I would agree with, he's just now like hopping at dancing to music, but he never danced at music before. And starting to point, he's now a little bit, but we'll get into that about the next video about him at 18 months. He's come a long way. And pointing to body parts, he still doesn't do that now. So I made the mistake of not reading the plan, or the plan that they get back to you, because it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot. And I literally, the only reason I read this now was because of these videos, and I wanted to take myself back when he was 12 months old and to remind myself on where he was back then, and to where he is now. So reading that, and I read it back to my husband, and he's like, what? So the thing is though, when they do evaluate, make sure you read the paperwork and point out things that you disagree with. Don't just go along for the ride. This is your child. You got him or her evaluated to help them. So if they already think that he's doing this stuff when he is not at all, they may skip through those points. I don't know, because it's right now, there's a reason we are dealing with a virus right now, worldwide, and we are all on lockdown pretty much. So that's why I'm able to make these videos, because I don't have work, I don't have anything going on right now besides playing with my son. So they can't come over and give him therapy because you can't make contact right now with people. So so right now they can't come over. But before this virus happened, I was calling my person, and it's been 7 months. So I got this done. It doesn't even say. Okay, so January 14th. It is April 4th right now. So they came over January 14th. And so last month, let's just say March, I was telling them I still haven't had a therapist come over. My dog. He still has not seen anybody. He's supposed to have, he did get approved for speech therapy. He got approved for a therapist that comes over to help him eat and learn, with the foods and stuff like that. And then in interactive therapy. I don't know the titles or whatever they're called, but interacting therapy, speech, and with food. So, and I have not had one come over yet. So bottom line is just make sure you're on it. And when they do come over, don't nod your head and smile. Don't be like, okay, yep, I agree. Because you're doing this for your child, and don't listen to other people's opinions. If you feel something's off, that's your child, and you spend the most time with your child. So if you have that gut feeling, then go get them evaluated. It doesn't hurt. What does it hurt? And don't compare your child to other kids. Yes, to an extent of in a way that Tom and I still, to this day, we will think Exton is at his level, but then we'll hang out with, somebody with a child right at Exton's age, and we're like, whoa, they are not at the same level. So yes, you kind of want to make sure that they are hitting their milestones and doing things like that, but also with autism and things like that, I was definitely thinking he didn't have autism because of things that he did and other people or other things I read upon with autism. And I'm like, well, no, he doesn't do that. So he definitely doesn't have autism. He definitely, like I said, acknowledges people. He makes okay eye contact. He makes pretty decent eye contact. So he makes eye contact. He doesn't have autism. So I would pinpoint things that he doesn't do and automatically think, well, he doesn't have autism. I knew it. I told you. But that's not the way it works. So, every child is different, and period. And every child with autism is different. So you can't compare one child with autism to the next person with the next child with autism, or person, or whatever. Same thing with any other child. It's not just autism. You can't compare, But like I said, just stick with your gut and how you feel. I, at this point, think I'm the only one that is, I am 98% sure that Exton has autism. And I'm not in it. So here I am, very naive maybe, because I don't know right now the benefits on getting Exton diagnosed for not having him diagnosed. I know there is benefits, and I know that there's things that's going to help him, but right now he's 18 months old. I'm not running to the doctor to get him diagnosed. But again, I am running to get him speech therapy and all that. So next video is going to be me talking about him at 18 months old and what he does now and how far he's come from 12 months old without any therapy or anything like that. But so bottom line with this video, make sure you get if you think that something's off and you want extra help, don't be ashamed of calling, and it's called early intervention for me in Illinois. And so don't listen to other people when they tell you like he's fine, or she's fine. If you feel it in your gut, then call. It doesn't hurt to call. So, all right, bye-bye.